Trump so far seems to me to be really, really good at the part of being the president that's like being in business. You know, he makes good appointments like a businessman. He is good at delegating authority like a businessman. He's decisive like a businessman. He listens to all the opinions, then he makes his decision. He's really been good at this. He's not so good so far at the parts of being in government that are like being in government, like the cat wrangling, the back scratching, the negotiating. They say he's not that big a help in these negotiations, and he hasn't learned how to do Congress yet. As I keep saying about Trump, the remarkable thing about him is, as much as he sometimes looks like a dope, he learns. He really does learn. He's a smart man. You do not succeed at businesses as difficult as TV and New York real estate without being a smart guy who learns. While he's learning, he has got to learn to stop saying stupid stuff. It really is a problem. It wasn't a problem when he was a candidate. I don't mind all the stuff he says. Like yesterday he said that he gave all these interviews for his 100 days. And he said, I'd be honored to meet with Kim Jong-un if the circumstances were right. Well, Kim Jong-un is like a nut who makes videos about destroying the White House. You're not honored to meet with him. I understand it's a small thing, you're not honored to meet with him. The other thing, it doesn't even bother me when he says that Kim Jong-un is a smart guy, a smart cookie, he called him. And everybody says, why are you calling him a smart cookie? Well, I get that. You can demonize evil people and crazy people. What he's saying is this guy is a formidable opponent. He is not just some dope. He's a young guy, took over, killed his enemies, took over a government. He's still there. He's a formidable opponent. You don't just run over him. You got to work this stuff. And the press tries to make a big deal about this. That doesn't bother me. But when he did this thing about Andrew Jackson yesterday, and he just makes, it just sounds like a bonehead. Play what he said about Andrew Jackson. Somebody compared him to Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, populist president, the big Democratic president, because he grew up in absolute poverty. And by the way, I am not like a guy who beats up on Jackson. Jackson had problems. He grew up in absolute dirt poverty. They score him for being a slave owner. He was really a slave dealer in his youth, a little bit, not much, but he was. But that was the world he was living in. He had some great military victories, obviously, the Battle of New Orleans and the Battle of Horseshoe, what was it called? Horseshoe Bend, I think it was, where he ended the Indian Wars. He was an accomplished military guy and a scrappy guy who won the love of the people. I'm not a Jackson hater, but this thing, they compared him to Andrew Jackson because he too was kind of the guy who appalled the elites. And here is Trump talking about this.
I mean, had Andrew Jackson been a little bit later, you wouldn't have had the Civil War. He was a very tough person, but he had a big heart, and he was really angry that he saw what was happening with regard to the Civil War. He said, there's no reason for this. People don't realize, the Civil War, you think about it, why? People don't ask that question. But why was there the Civil War? Why could that one not have been worked out?
Yeah, that was the art of the deal. I mean, I don't think he's missing the point that obviously Jackson was dead for, 15, 16 years by the time the Civil War came along. But he just sounds like a dope. Nobody asked the question, why the Civil War? Like, has he ever actually been in a library, a bookstore, any place, And why couldn't we have worked that out? Yeah, we'll let you keep some slaves. Just don't whip them so much. It's like, what kind of deal do you make to stop the Civil War?